while connecting the needs of children, youth, and families to appropriate resources in their communities.
This year, we have highlighted Protect the Right to Read. And what is so important about that is it gives our children an idea of where they came from. And if we don't know where we came from, we're destined to repeat history, right? So it is important that we protect their right to read.
This is the FedEx Cares Operation Warm event, where we're giving out jackets to the students here at Span Elementary School. This is a great opportunity for FedEx to give back to our community every way we can. We love this yearly event, and the students love when we come and interact with them.
The kids are super excited. They were asking why do they have to take out their coats and things like that, and can I get a new coat, and can I pick out a certain color. They've been asking me to take pictures of them, zip up my coat. They've already been putting their hoods on and showing me how it fits and things like that, so they are super excited about these coats.
I think it's very helpful because some people don't have any clothes.
It has the inside of it is green and the outside is black. It looks great. It is great. It feels comfortable, and I think I can go in the winter with this.
It's important to show that FedEx cares and that we're able to volunteer, give back every chance we get. The name of our operation, FedEx Cares, is important to show that we care about everyone that we interact with every day.
So our middle college students are working with our Department of Continuing Education. So we have some GED students coming over, and our middle college students are working with them to help prepare them, help them build up the skills that they need to pass their GED test.
This one was your quick. This is my first year in it because we're the first cohort of the Jackson Middle College, and honestly, it's a great experience to be able to be with my peers as a top of Jackson Public Schools to become math teachers in Jackson Public Schools as well.
So that entails incorporating.
I really enjoy it. I like that I'm learning new things. And like it's mostly this, for the summer program, it's mostly refreshing our knowledge, making sure we know the necessary things so that when we go into college next year, we'll be able to keep up with everything.
It's an amazing collaboration. It's giving our middle college students experience with one-on-one tutoring, providing remediation, meeting the students where they are and helping build them up.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our new football head coach, Mr. Zachary T. Gray.
Well, our expectation is to put a winning product on the field. You know, and what we mean by winning product, I mean that we got young men that go out and execute the game the way it's supposed to be played from a fundamental standpoint. I think the fundamentals and the effort results in winning culture, and when you do those things, you win ball games. So we're going to really emphasize the cultural piece, the effort piece, and building strong character in these young men, and the winning will come. You cannot win without those pieces, so we're going to put the pieces together, we're going to stack it piece by piece, and the wins will come. We're going to get back to the process of working and building character and going out and getting quality players and making sure we got the right fits to build this program properly. So if you're out there in the city and you zone to Jim Hill High School, this is the best place to be. So let's get here, let's get to work, and let's get to winning.
The JPS Joy Parent Cruise sets sail with purpose and promise, bringing together a sea of families, educators, and community partners for an evening of connection and discovery.
So our department consists of occupational therapists, physical therapists, speech therapists.
Booths showcased the incredible resources, programs, and opportunities available throughout Jackson Public Schools.
Parents can know about our resources that we have for our scholars, as well as some of our community partners.
From innovative academic programs to parent engagement initiatives, every display reflected the district's mission to inspire and support scholar success. Parents and families explored exhibits, met with JPS staff, and gained insights into how the district is moving forward. Community partners were also there, reinforcing the strong collaboration between JPS and local organizations dedicated to making a difference. The JPS Joy Cruise was not just an event, but a celebration of the partnership between JPS and the families we serve. Surprise, celebration, and applause filled the air as JPS honored a group of extraordinary team members who go above and beyond for our scholars. This year's honorees include Parent of the Year.
Being a pillar in the Jackson Public School community is awesome. Being able to support our kids, being able to give back, it is a blessing, and I am truly honored, and this is very fulfilling. So I really do appreciate the SPAN staff for nominating me, and I'm grateful.
An incredible Teacher of the Year.
This award was really special because when they called my name, just to be commended and with all of my peers and all the other teachers who were there, just to hear them screaming for me, that lets me know that I've made partnerships and collaborations with my peers throughout the district, and I was very, very humbled by that.
A hard-working Support Staff of the Year.
To receive this award was very surprising. Standing next to the group of women that I was standing next to is amazing to win. We all work together and continue to do the work for parents and educators within the district.
The Dedicated District Leader of the Year.
It's an absolute honor. It feels amazing to be recognized by my peers and my colleagues to receive this prestigious award in the district. I go to work every day to try to be the best support I can to ensure that we have certified teachers in the classrooms, amazing support staff, to build those positive relationships with everyone, and to just make sure that we're doing the best that we can to get the right people in the right place to help drive success within our district.
An Inspiring Administrator of the Year.
Well, it's always nice to be rewarded for your efforts and what you do each and every day. The biggest reward, however, comes with making sure that my students are successful each and every day. And it's not an I, it's a team approach to what we do at Callaway each and every day. We just work hard to make sure our students are successful.
Each of these honorees represents the heart and soul of JPS.
I'm very clear that any successes that we have is because we've got great people. It's because we've got people who are in position, who care about our children, care about the district, and work really, really hard, many times without any kind of notoriety. And so we just want to try to create opportunities to celebrate them and let them know we see you, and we appreciate you. We appreciate all that you do for our school district.
We are having a great celebration at North Jackson Elementary today with Paul Moak Subaru, through the Subaru Loves Learning initiative. This is our 4th year to be an Adopt-a-School sponsor of North Jackson Elementary, and what that means is that they will have the opportunity to purchase curriculum and classroom supplies that are big ticket items, above the run-of-the-mill school supplies that are definitely needed, but these are items that will remain in their classrooms for years to come and impact, hundreds of students throughout their duration.
We're very excited about the partnership. Paul Moak Subaru has been our adopters for the last 4 years. They've invested in our community and our teachers. This kind of donation means the most because teachers get a chance to spend the donations on supplies for their classrooms.
This is going to be very helpful for me and my scholars. As I start my first year here, we're going to be able to use these tools in the classroom, and I'm just very grateful for the opportunity.
When we describe characters, how do we describe them?
What they do, what they say. It's good to have that outside support. We get it, of course, here at North Jackson by our amazing principal, but it's also good to know that people outside in the community care about what we do here every day as well.
This is the FedEx Cares Operation Warm event where we're giving out jackets to the students here at Span Elementary School. This is a great opportunity for FedEx to give back to our community every way we can. We love this yearly event, and the students love when we come and interact with them.
The kids are super excited. They were asking why do they have to take out their coats and things like that, and can I get a new coat, and can I pick out a certain color. They've been asking me to take pictures of them, zip up my coat. They've already been putting their hoods on and showing me how it fits and things like that, so they are super excited about these coats.
I think it's very helpful because some people don't have any clothes.
It has the inside of it is green and the outside is black. It looks great. It is great. It feels comfortable, and I think I can go in the winter with this.
It's important to show that FedEx cares and that we're able to volunteer, give back every chance we get. The name of our operation, FedEx Cares, is important to show that we care about everyone that we interact with every day.
So we're so excited today that we could give back to our adopters. We have several adopters and specialty partners at McWillie who are always pouring into our children every day of the year. And so this is just a way that we can give back to them. So we provided breakfast for them today, and our performing arts students are putting on a performance for them. It's so important because we need to show our adopters how important they are to us, and it's just a token of appreciation that we can show them how much they mean to us.
You're watching Jackson Public Schools Television, where excellence in education inspires the power of people and possibilities.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our new football head coach, Mr. Zachary T. Grady.
Well, our expectation is to put a winning product on the field. You know, and what we mean by winning product, I mean that we got young men that go out and execute the game the way it's supposed to be played from a fundamental standpoint. I think the fundamentals and the effort results in winning culture. And when you do those things, you win ball games. So we're going to really emphasize the cultural piece, the effort piece, and build a strong character in these young men, and the winning will come. You cannot win without those pieces. So we're going to put the pieces together, we're going to stack it piece by piece, and the wins will come. We're going to get back to the process of working and building character and going out and getting quality players and making sure we got the right fits to build this program properly. So if you're out there in the city and you zone to Jim Hill High School, this is the best place to be. So let's get here, let's get to work, and let's get to winning.
Hi, this is Eric Green, Superintendent of Jackson Public Schools, and I'm here with your Black History Moment. Richard Wright was born September 4th, 1908, near Natchez, Mississippi. Wright was a novelist and short story writer who was among the first African American writers to protest white treatment of blacks, notably in his novel Native Son and his autobiography Black Boy. Richard Wright's grandparents had been born into slavery, but his grandfathers participated in the Civil War and eventually gained their freedom. His father was a sharecropper and his mother a school teacher. After his father left home, Wright grew up in poverty and was often shifted from one relative to another. Richard Wright attended school at Jim Hill, the former Smith Robertson Junior High School, and the newly constructed Lanier High School. He worked at a number of jobs before joining the northward migration, first to Memphis and then to Chicago. There, after working in numerous unskilled jobs, he got an opportunity to write through the Federal Writers Project. Wright's first novel, Native Son, was published in 1940. It was a brutally honest depiction of black, urban, ghetto life, but it was an immediate success. Black Boy, a fictionalized autobiography, was published in 1945, and sales reached 400,000 copies in a matter of 3 months. Soon after,
Richard Wright accepted an invitation from the French government to visit France, and the 3-month experience was a sharp contrast to his experiences here in his own country. He and his family permanently relocated to Paris, where he continued to publish many great works. Richard Wright died in Paris, France, November 28, 1960.
This is the FedEx Cares Operation Warm event, where we're giving out jackets to the students here at Span Elementary School. This is a great opportunity for FedEx to give back to our community every way we can. We love this yearly event, and the students love when we come and interact with them.
The kids are super excited. They were asking why do they have to take out their coats and things like that, and can I get a new coat, and can I pick out a certain color. They've been asking me to take pictures of them, zip up my coat. They've already been putting their hoods on and showing me how it fits and things like that, so they are super excited about these coats.
I think it's very helpful because some people don't have any clothes.
It has the inside of it is green and the outside of it is black. It looks great. It is great. It feels comfortable, and I think I can go in the winter with this.
It's important to show that FedEx cares and that we're able to volunteer, give back every chance we get. The name of our operation, FedEx Cares, is important to show that we care about everyone that we interact with every day.
Celebrating the rich cultural heritage of our Hispanic scholars, JPS hosted the English Learners Hispanic Heritage Celebration at Forest Hill High School. The ceremony, conducted in both English and Spanish, featured musical performances. Scholars who have excelled at mastering the English language were recognized and honored for their achievements. With awards in hand, these scholars represent a bridge between two worlds, Spanish and English, united in their pursuit of knowledge and success. And a warm welcome from JPS Superintendent Dr. Eric L. Green.
It's important for all of us to know more about others and how to communicate with others so that we can truly be the family that we were meant to be.
The keynote speaker, a medical doctor who came to America as a child, shared her personal journey, showing how the dream of education is attainable for all.
And believe it or not, I can completely relate to many of the things that you and or your child have experienced or are experiencing. When I immigrated or matriculated through school, we did not have ESL programs. So I still remember the painful lesson in trying to learn English.
It's a wonderful opportunity for us to cater specifically to our Hispanic community and especially to our Spanish-speaking families. So we just try to do something that's special for them, show them that we care for them and appreciate them.
The English Learners Hispanic Heritage Celebration ended with a delicious meal, a perfect conclusion to a celebration of cultures coming together.
Move to Learn, ms.org. It's a free program. It's a teaching tool designed for teachers all over the state of Mississippi, but it's been used all over the world and all over the nation. And it's just 5 minutes of movement. 5 minutes of movement when boys and girls are not engaged. And the teacher recognizes that. She asks them to stand up. She go to a menu. She pull videos from pre-K through 12th grade, whichever is age appropriate, They do 5 minutes of movement. When they sit down, things get better academically. There's a research and data that show that there's a correlation between movement and academic performance. Don't stop, don't stop. Get it, get it, get it.
I believe in physical education. I believe in the power of movement and its connection to learning. And so just to have this program and be able to give it to our kids is something I'm very excited about today.
And what we want to do is make sure every child and every teacher has just one more tool to help them be successful in all the schools all across the state.
The 2024 JPS District Reading Fair was alive with energy, celebrating creativity and the power of books. A warm welcome from JPS administrators.
As we engage in reading, we learn things about ourselves. We learn things about others. We can enrich our lives through the joy of reading.
What you have behind me and before you are the students that won first place at their school reading fair.
And so today, we're here to celebrate your tremendous accomplishment of representing your schools at the District Reading Fair.
The event kicked off with an uplifting performance that set a joyful tone. The room came alive with performances that celebrated storytelling, imagination, and the joy of learning.
We're just grateful as a district to be leading, if you will, in this effort to ensure that our reading fairs continue to support our students and teachers along the way.
An inspiring message reminded everyone that books are the key to unlocking the magic within ourselves.
Reading is a lost art because we have so many electronic devices that you're on every day. You miss the simple pleasure of taking out a book and reading it.
The centerpiece of the fair was the scholars' vibrant displays, each a creative tribute to the books they read.
And I got into reading a lot lately, and that book, it came to mind.
And he goes through struggles of having to grow up by himself.
He has committed a crime, but because he's so arrogant, he tries to dismiss his crime.
So, comet hits Earth. They all go to sleep. Everybody goes to sleep. They wake up in a new place, but everybody forgets about Earth and everything. And only one girl remembers everything, and she's going to save the world.
Judges engaged with scholars, exploring the stories behind their work. The day concluded with an awards ceremony, honoring scholars for their creativity and hard work.
In Jackson Public Schools, we believe deeply in the power of a growth mindset, that's the idea that with dedication and effort, we can all achieve new heights. So your hard work today shows the success that you've already built, and we're so excited to celebrate your accomplishments.
The JPS District Reading Fair showcased the magic of books and the limitless potential of young minds. It was a celebration of imagination, learning, and joy.
I love to read.
We are having a great celebration at North Jackson Elementary today with Paul Moak Subaru, through the Subaru Loves Learning initiative. This is our 4th year to be an Adopt-a-School sponsor of North Jackson Elementary. And what that means is that they will have the opportunity to purchase curriculum and classroom supplies that are big ticket items, above the run-of-the-mill school supplies that are definitely needed. But these are items that will remain in their classrooms for years to come and impact, hundreds of students throughout their duration.
We're very excited about the partnership. Paul Moak Subaru has been our adopters for the last 4 years. They've invested in our community and our teachers. This kind of donation means the most because teachers get a chance to spend the donations on supplies for their classrooms.
What line does our uppercase letter start on? The skyline. This is going to be very helpful for me and my scholars. As I start my first year here, we're going to be able to use these tools in the classroom, and I'm just very grateful for the opportunity.
We describe characters. How do we describe them?
What they do, what they say.
It's good to have that outside support. We get it, of course, here in North Jackson by our amazing principal, but it's also good to know that people outside in the community care about what we do here every day as well.
Greetings to all program attendees. I am Dana Owens, principal here at Pecan Park Elementary School, where we imagine excellence, unlock potential, and elevate education. I would like to welcome each of you here today. I would also like to say a very special thank you to the members of the Junior League of Jackson and the Community Foundation of Mississippi for their continued support and creative and effective educational efforts in classrooms.
It is my distinct pleasure to be with you today to celebrate these incredible grant winners. Thanks to the vision and leadership of Gail Adams, since 1988, so for over 35 years, the Junior League of Jackson has partnered with JPS to ensure teachers can get creative, think outside the box, and implement new ways to teach so that students have fun while learning in their classroom. In 2005, JLJ partnered with the Community Foundation for Mississippi and essentially were able to double the impact going forward. Thank you, Gail, for your leadership and vision. Thank you to our project chair and co-chair, Candace Gregory and Brianna O'Neill. Thank you to the Community Foundation for Mississippi for this special partnership, and especially thank you to JPS faculty, staff, and administrators for the opportunity to continue this incredibly special project. Together, we're so excited to make learning fun and shape the future of our community.
The Education Foundation Trust was actually established by a group of businessmen who were doing sort of the same thing that the Junior League was doing back in, I think they were actually the early 90s. But they had raised money because they didn't think it was right that teachers should have to pay out of their own pocket for classroom enrichments, which in those days, y'all, before, all the fancy stuff, it was things like crayons and construction paper and glue. And so, when Gail started this program, I think it was very important to recognize that the community said, this isn't right that we should be asking our teachers to do so much after they've given a full day at school and everything else that they do at home and on the weekends. And so this money had been raised, and then these businessmen looked at each other and said, we don't really know anything about giving away money in mini grants. Why don't we find some community partners to help us do this? And so they parked the money at the Community Foundation, and that was in 2001. We started the partnership with the Junior League in 2005, and they have done all of the volunteer work aside from raising the money. They do the grant reading, they do all of the evaluation, and they, are really the ones that are carrying most of the water for this project. I will say for our other community members, if anybody wants to help with this project, they can come on and donate to the Education Foundation Trust Fund at the Community Foundation. We would be more than happy to help figure out how to maximize this money for student potential. Thank you so much.
I'm absolutely delighted to once again celebrate the amazing contributions of the Junior League of Jackson to provide this amazing opportunities that allow teachers to bring their creative ideas to fruition. I am a firm believer that all children can learn, but they don't learn the same way. The Teacher Mini Grant process provides the vehicle for our teachers to implement various projects to enhance the educational experiences of our scholars. It's already been said, but it bears repeating, that Junior League of Jackson volunteers dedicate many hours with various activities to yield the funding to bring these ideas to life. I extend my sincere appreciation to each volunteer for their role. They played a huge part to make this happen today. However, their work does not stop here. Once our curriculum department reviews the grant application, League volunteers who are also educators review those same ideas put forward to assist in selecting which grants will receive funding. It is truly a labor of love, long hours, and dedication. And then to see these ideas come to life is simply amazing. Providing over $100,000 every year has equipped JPS teachers with the opportunity to bring learning opportunities that are outside of the box to life. So thank you to all teachers who took the time to write these grants, and thank you principals for encouraging the teachers to do so. So please join me in a round of applause to the Community Foundation of Mississippi and also the leadership and volunteers of Junior League of Jackson. I'm sure we can all go back and think over our educational experiences, and there may have been one experience or one teacher that just ignited something in us. With me, it was my 7th grade English teacher who said, "Girl, you can write." And she just convinced me. I think that's the beauty of these grants, because it has such amazing, unique, creative ideas that it taps something in a child that the standard state curriculum might not. So teachers think outside the box, and they're creative, and they say, let's do this. We have all kinds of ideas, but we need money. Gail Adams said, let's do something about that. So to date, Gail, your dream and vision has yielded over $2 million to Jackson Public School teachers. It has fueled creative, innovative educational experiences for our children. So thank you for planting this seed that has truly reaped a beautiful harvest.
There are a few things that one does in one's life that really have a true meaning, and I think this is one of the ones for me. Back in 1988, I went to the finance committee of the Junior League, and I said, do you have any money that we can put into some small grants for the public schools? Let's call them mini grants. And so they said, we can give you $7,300. So with that $7,300, I asked 3 Junior League members to make a form that we would give to every public school teacher in Jackson, asking her what she could do with an extra $300. 157 teachers sent us applications for grants. So that fall, we awarded 25 grants to teachers in the Jackson Public Schools. And I am just overwhelmed at the fact that we have now, with our partners, given over $2 million, and I hope it goes on forever. And thank y'all, all you principals, for encouraging your teachers. I don't know how much encouragement they need, though, because they all seem to appreciate the grants. But thank you for all you do for our students in Jackson. Okay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. Thank you for all you've done. Gracias, gracias, gracias a todos. Gracias por todo lo que han hecho. Thank you for all you've done. Gracias por todo lo que han hecho. Thank you for all you've done. Gracias por todo lo que han hecho. Thank you for all you've done. Gracias por todo lo que han hecho.
A Jackson Public Schools graduate. My grandmother was a Jackson Public Schools teacher, and during the COVID year, my grandmother actually helped me score the grants because we could not commune together to do that. And that made it even more special to me after she passed away to make sure that I continued to touch this project. So many teachers throughout my career in Jackson Public School changed my life. One of them actually told me, when I thought I wanted to be a doctor, she told me, no, you need to go be a lawyer. And so I credit Barbara Stevens for that. I am so honored to be here with the Junior League to award and notify these teachers and these students and families across our city that we have $102,972.81 that will go into enriching these children's lives. First, we have Green Elementary School with $319.95 for Do You Hear What I Hear? Next, we have Key Elementary School for $1,044.69 for Are You Ready for Reading? Obama Elementary School, $3,063.16 for We've Got the Whole World in Our Hands. McWillie Elementary School for $4,346.74 for Building Blocks of Grammar. Bates Elementary School, $4,907.92 for Building Great Futures Through Literacy. Forest Hill received $5,000 for Defeating All Negativity with Creative Expression. Isabel Elementary School is being awarded $5,537 for Mathematical Comprehension Gaming. Galloway Elementary School is being awarded $9,988 for Percussion, Off Cultures, and Language Arts. Next, we have Johnson Elementary School, $10,904.13 for Engagement, Read All About It, Glowing and Growing. North Jackson Elementary School is being awarded $11,039.57 for Hear It, Read It, Connecting Listening with Reading, the Nourish and Flourish Fund, the Reading Blueprint, Skills for Success, Unlocking the Magic of Math, A Path to Academic Excellence. Boyd Elementary School for a total of $12,194.62 for Math Manipulatives Galore, Voice for All, supporting classroom communication with translation technology. Pecan Park is being awarded $17,678.31 for Building a Book, Creating Our Own Books, Sensory Integration, Socially and Emotionally Educated Scholars, and Talk That Talk. Span Elementary School is being awarded $19,348.56 for Brain Games, Emotions in Motion, Pushing the Boundaries of Art and Science Learning, Put a Little Love in Your Heart, The Joy of Reading, Read to Succeed, Empowering ESL Students, and The Strength of Reading. Congratulations.
I want to extend our deepest gratitude to the Junior League of Jackson for your unwavering commitment to our teachers and our scholars, to our friends at the Community Foundation for Mississippi as well. These mini grants are not just financial contributions, they are investments. Investments in creativity, in innovation, and the future of our classrooms. Your partnership empowers our educators to bring their ideas to life. And so we're so excited to foster their deeper engagement of our scholars and more meaningful learning experiences for all of our students. Whether it's through the technology, the arts, hands-on projects. I heard the adaptive language technology. As you can see, we have a growing language learners in our student population here in Jackson, and our teachers are innovating to continue to meet the needs of all learners. These initiatives directly address the needs identified by those closest to the work. To our educators, thank you for your vision and dedication to our scholars. You inspire us every day with your commitment to creating exceptional learning environments, and we're so appreciative of all those who took extra time to detail the things that they need, and then the principals who are here who also supported your teachers in their creativity.
This is the FedEx Cares Operation Warm event, where we're giving out jackets to the students here at Span Elementary School.
Good evening. The Jackson Public School Board meeting is now called to order. Board members, we have 4 members present. Mrs. Thompson is on the line, so therefore we have a quorum. We've all had an opportunity to review the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I so move. Second.
Ms. Hilliard has moved. Dr. Harrison has seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mrs. Thompson?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries. Next, we've all had an opportunity to review the minutes. Board members, there is one revision needed to the minutes on the January 16th special board meeting. We need to reflect that both Mr. Figures and myself recused ourselves from the discussion of the repurposing of Marshall Elementary. So if you could make a motion to approve the minutes for January 16th with revisions and for January 21st.
I so move. Second.
Ms. Hilliard has moved. Dr. Harrison has seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. With that, we're on to the superintendent's reports. Dr. Green.
Thank you, Dr. Sivak. Good evening, board members, and to our community members and scholars, and of course to our team members. As we typically do, we'll start with some highlights from across JPS land.
JPS.
We have worked so hard this semester to maintain our academics to serve this great city and the surrounding communities.
JPS JROTC cadets came together to celebrate the holiday season at the annual JROTC Gala. The night included a fancy 5-course meal, great energy, and inspiring speeches.
If you go to school every day and you think it's easy, what are you trying to do that's not so easy?
I can't emphasize enough how important this program is, not just to Jackson Public School District, but to the city of Jackson, to the state of Mississippi, and to the United States.
So I do hope that you'll continue to build the relationships with individuals here and continue to challenge one another to do great things.
When the call went out for public participation on the future of JPS's Lake Hyco property, the response was overwhelming.
Some of the things that they appreciate about the city, but also some things that we need more of or that we simply don't have.
A packed room of community leaders and residents gathered to share thoughts and opinions.
Literally not places for people to go to access the things in education and other places as well.
Some homeopathic clinics and places where you can go and get nature-based medicines and herbs.
It was a hands-on collaboration. Attendees explored maps of the 640-acre Lake Hyco property.
What do we want to see here? Really think through what do we need, not only on that property and in that neighborhood, but across the city.
JPS hosted its 2025 College Recruitment Luncheon.
So today we have well over 350 scholars and over 15 colleges and universities that are on site today to offer admissions, scholarships on site.
Giving top seniors from all 6 high schools the chance to connect with college representatives.
And this is one of the strategies that we have in place to ensure that our scholars are given opportunities to actually connect with colleges and universities. The scholars are going to be able to go into breakout sessions with colleges to have more intimate conversations about ACT scores and what could be available around scholarships. We also have Get to College here that are completing FAFSA with our parents.
Since 1988, so for over 35 years, the Junior League of Jackson has partnered with JPS to ensure teachers can get creative, think outside the box, and implement new ways to teach.
The Junior League of Jackson, alongside the Community Foundation of Mississippi, awarded over $102,000 to fund 26 innovative classroom projects in JPS schools.
The Teacher Mini Grant process provides the vehicle for our teachers to implement various projects to enhance the educational experiences of our scholars.
Our appreciation to Jackson State University and New Horizon Church for generously opening your doors to JPS scholars from Shirley and Wilkins Elementary Schools on January 9th and 10th. Their home school buildings had temporarily closed due to heating system failures. It truly takes a village, and we're grateful for our strong community of education supporters.
Please visit our website at jackson.k12.ms.us. Follow us on Facebook at Jackson Public Schools, on Instagram at JPS Student Voices. Follow us on X at JPS District, Comcast channels 18 and 19, and YouTube at youtube.com/JPSITV.
As always, we want to thank the team for putting together those highlights from our various events over the past month or so, actually over the past 2 months, as we saw the gala from the back in December, the JROTC gala, which is always a really nice event. I want to just echo our thanks to New Horizon Church, but also to Jackson State University for really coming through for us when we needed them. We needed to relocate some of our scholars due to some systems challenges in our schools. Really appreciate their flexibility and willingness to step in a time of need. They've been wonderful partners. Both have been wonderful partners to us. Also really want to take a moment and just ask you to join me in thanking the Junior League of Jackson. Each year they have been super generous to us in funding these teacher-led grants. So if you would, just join me in applauding them. Over $100,000 in grants made to our teachers, these really special teacher-led, teacher-written, envisioned projects, and so we just really appreciate them in the way that they continue to show up for us and as real partners. Board members, I've got, I believe, three big remarks or sets of remarks that I'd like to make, and so appreciate your indulgence this evening. First, as you know, I sent a letter to our JPS families and team members earlier this month concerning the presidential executive order focused on immigration. And in that letter, I sought to reassure community members of our dedication to scholar safety and security in our schools. I want to be very clear that Jackson Public Schools will absolutely adhere to the laws. What we're required to do, we will do. I think what is lost, perhaps for those who are not so intimately involved in this work, is that there are several pieces of guidance that we must adhere to, not the least of which is our national and our state constitutions, which require and obligate us to provide an education to our scholars. Also, acknowledging their right to privacy, the privacy of their records, and our obligation to serve in loco parentis, which is in place of their parents while they're in our care. So in addition to any guidance that we have, and I know that guidance is kind of evolving over time, any guidance that we have in this case specifically around immigration status or any of that sort of thing, we know that we've also got to keep our scholars safe while they're with us. And so we just want to be really clear where we stand on this. We will absolutely follow the law. And in doing so, we know that we're also in sometimes a challenging space where there are seemingly conflicting guidance. But at the end of the day, we are committed to ensuring that our scholars get what they need and that they have the resources they need, whether it's through us or community organizations. And as well, just want to be clear that this is not just about individual or targeted scholars or families. It's about our school communities. And so when there's disruption at a school community or some kind of a perceived threat, it's not just of those targeted scholars. It's to their classmates as well, and our educators, our teachers, and others in our schools. And so just want to be mindful of all of the maybe competing priorities that we have there in trying to do what's best for our scholars and adhere to the law of the land. So just wanted to name that for all, and just to thank all of our team members who continue to give of themselves and to lead and serve with passion and empathy as various community members are going through tough, challenging times. And I'll end with this. For our part, we want to encourage all of our scholars to continue to come to school and see our schools as spaces that will serve you and treat you with dignity and honor and appreciation. And so just know that that's our stance and what we will strive to do each and every day for all of our scholars. Also, board members, we've been monitoring the Mississippi legislature, and you may be aware that they've introduced several bills related to public schools, and especially related to school choice. And there are a few of them that I'll highlight here. One is House Bill 1431, which seeks to consolidate all of the districts in our state into county districts. And so in our case, that would mean, should this pass, that JPS, Clinton Public Schools, and Hinds County Public Schools would become one county district. And so I'm just reporting the news. That's all I'm doing here, is reporting the news. So that's one bill that has been introduced. Another bill that has been introduced is House Bill 1432, which seeks to expand opportunities for charter schools, especially in districts where that are rated C, D, or F, and in the past 5 years. And so I want to again name that this is a bill that's been introduced and is being has been considered by House members. House Bill 1433 provides for public and private school choice. And I'll come back to that in a moment. And House Bill 1435 provides for choice or portability from one public school or district to another. And I want to share an experience. I have been on at the Capitol building 3 times, I believe, in the last week and a half or so. And today I was able to observe the House Education Committee meeting as they took up several of these bills. There was a bit of discussion. Some really, I think, important questions were asked, and again, lots of discussion about them. There was standing room only. Lots of superintendents from various districts, several others who on both sides of, or on all sides, several sides, I guess, of the issues were there, and there was news media there as well. And I want to share one experience or one observation. As this bill 1433 was discussed, and they saved that to the end and had a bit of discussion about it. The pros and cons, the committee chair encouraged more, and he kind of repeated this, more and more discussion and openness around this issue of school choice, public school choice, or school choice, I should say. And his commitment to doing something and calling for the committee and the legislature as a whole to do something to ensure that all scholars get a great education. And when they finally had had all of their discussion and were calling for the vote, there were some nays, there were some yeas, and there were some nays. And I believe it's fair to say, for anyone who may have been watching or in the room, that the nays were considerably stronger than the yeas. However, the chairman decided to move the bill forward to the full House, and when asked that they count the votes, the chairman refused. Again, I'm reporting the news. I'm just reporting the news. This was an interesting observation and experience, and I think one that will reverberate for me for some time, just around how bills are made and how they advance through our system. I would encourage any and everyone to first just to continue to monitor the bills as they are discussed and considered, to monitor our elected officials' behaviors, the questions they ask or don't ask, and for sure how they vote on these various bills. And I certainly would encourage each and every one of us, to the extent that we have questions or concerns, or if we happen to be in favor of any of these potential bills, that we share that feedback wherever we stand, to get involved and share our feedback with our elected officials. And I'll end with that. Lastly, board members, I'm excited to share that we've received our results from the recent soil testing of Lake Hyco property. And per our engineers, the soil does have sufficient compaction. And it's believed to have been remediated appropriately. We're excited about that. As you know, we've had lots of conversation about whether the compaction was sufficient for us to move forward with development. But we're excited to get those results back and to be thinking about our next steps in the final closeout with that property, Entergy's lease, but also in our planning for what comes next on that property. And just to reiterate, we know that the testing of contaminants was done some time ago, and that's come back positive and or strong and as we would hope. And the flood risk that was presented by the former body of water that was on that property has been sufficiently addressed. So this is great news as we continue to look forward for what we do with the property and the possibilities of what could be on Lake Hyco. And to that end, I'm happy to share that we had a really positive meeting, community meeting, the second community meeting on January the 23rd at Kirksey Middle School. It was very well attended. There was really, really great engagement. Members and attendees were able to discuss their hopes and dreams for the property and for our city. We had a lot of conversation about thriving communities and what that means and what that looks like, and where there are signs of a thriving community around Lake Hyco or across the city, and where there are opportunities for us to continue to create more of those components of our community that would cause us to feel like it's thriving. We discussed the RFP process that is emerging and reviewed the tentative timeline for development of the property. Of note, we discussed kind of 3 different phases, a shorter term timeline for development and activity on the property, a midterm and a longer term, with a shorter term being opportunities to use the land as it is, or perhaps planting trees and allowing them to grow over the years for potential timber harvesting later. Midterm could be some housing development and building out of some of the infrastructure needs there, streets and bringing more water or any of the utilities throughout that property. The longer term development, which would likely be 5 to 20 years or more, could be the continued development of housing, of mixed use entities or buildings, more recreation, all sorts of things, and not to mention starting to really connect to the properties that surround and looking beyond the proper Lake Hyco property to, we've got the Hawkins Field, which is south of there. We've got businesses and homes that are around there. There's not too far from 220, and there are opportunities for more access to and from 220. And so just really thinking more broadly about what Lake Hyco could mean to the broader community and city. And so, again, lots of wonderful energy there. I was really impressed with the ideas and the way that community participants really pushed one another and us to think about what could be. So We're excited to continue this effort and excited to come back. We'll likely schedule the next meeting for next month as we come back with more of the substance around the RFP, the request for proposals process to get developers on board, as we come back with more guidance from some focus groups that we're doing with developers, both local and from other areas outside of this area. And as we think some more about some of the financing and what that might take for some of the development there. Board members, I'll take any questions that you have for me, but that concludes my remarks for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Board members, any questions, comments?
I don't have a question, just a comment. Dr. Green, we are so very appreciative of your dedication to Jackson Public Schools, especially attending these legislative sessions. There are some frightening things that are being proposed, and of course we were very proud to see you on television speaking out and speaking up for Jackson Public Schools to make us better.
Thank you.
Yes, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Well said. Thank you. Well said.
So, Mrs. Hilliard.
Yes.
Did you hear the soundbite? Public observation over public dollars.
Public accountability for public dollars.
Accountability, yes. Accountability.
I thought that was just absolutely
outstanding.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Made you think about the
demand.
Yes.
For public accountability.
All of that. Yeah, accountability.
We don't shy away from it. We know we are being held accountable, and we see that as a part of what helps to make us better.
Yeah.
And we just would hope that everyone who's receiving public dollars would be held accountable in like manner.
Absolutely.
We know that our children can achieve just as well as anyone else's children. We just want equality.
Any other comments, board members?
I did after that heavy rain last week, Wednesday night or Thursday night. I did point out that the lake seemed to have been full of water again.
Okay.
Somebody to go check it out.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Figures. Dr. Green, all I'll add to what's already been said is, thank you for being up at the legislature. I know for many years our delegation has called for us to be present up there. And I would encourage you to engage with the Senate with the same level of vigor, accessibility, visibility that you have in the House. And it's a long session, it's a long process, and entities who have the ability to have representation up there all the time, or who've been there for many, many, many years, they know that process. And so, again, I think just because one committee hearing goes one way, it's a long process. But we've got 80,000 things, you got 80,000 things you're doing, and I would just encourage you to just keep at it until sine die, because that's what it's going to take. All right, board members. Let's move on with our agenda. And I would also, last point, thank you for bringing up what's going on across the country. And just know that as you are standing up for our scholars, we all got your back. So,
thank you.
All right. We're going to move on to board members. We do not have any public participation this evening, but I would like to remind people that for community members who would like to make public comments, they should join us in the boardroom before 5:15 p.m. There's two ways. One, you can email your request to Ms. Rosalind Williams at roswilliams@jackson.k12.ms.us no later than 4 p.m. the day of the meeting, or appear in person in the boardroom no later than 5:15 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Anyone who would like to speak, we encourage those comments, and we also encourage people to reach out to any of the board members on the JPS website. Okay, board members, we have two information-only items. The first will be our student board member presentation. We have Mrs. Marshall Thomas, who's going to introduce our board member who is from Jim Hill High School. Mrs. Marshall Thomas.
Great evening, Dr. Sivak, board members, Dr. Green, JPS family. Tonight we will hear from Charlie Porter. Charlie is a senior at Jim Hill High School. She's a member of the cheer, track, and soccer teams at Jim Hill. Charlie plans to attend Jackson State University and major in biology, followed by medical school. She plans to be an anesthesiologist. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome up Charlie Porter.
Hello, everyone. I'm Charlie. Hi. I made this to not only represent myself, but the whole JPS schools, all of the JPS schools. I want to start off by saying that although I'm going against the policy, I still appreciate the policy and the implementation of it into the school. I started off by going exactly by the section in the JCB AAA. It starts off by saying that cellular phones and other personal electronic devices shall be turned off and kept out of sight at all times, including the daily bus ride to and from school. Secondly, it says electronic devices shall not be used in any way that disrupts or detracts from the educational environment or cause a disturbance on the school bus. And thirdly, it says the use of cellular phones or other personal electronic devices are prohibited in the classroom, lunchroom, gym, auditorium, media centers, cafeteria, hallways, and testing centers during the school days. These are the standards for students to uphold and be responsible for during school hours, on the bus, or during school activities. I made a list of the pros and cons of the policy because, like I mentioned before, it's not just negative, and I'm not up here just to go against it. The pros, in my opinion, I do believe it keeps learners from being distracted or off task in class, and it also maintains a learning environment that is conducive to learning. The cons, I believe the policy could be more flexible by allowing device usage during non-instructional time periods, creating opportunities for students to engage productively. I also believe that adjustments to this policy could help students feel valued and supported, fostering a more positive environment for both the student and staff. Me and Dr. Buck went around with a barcode to numerous students in different grade levels to get accurate responses. One of the questions we asked was, would you be more motivated to perform on tests if increased cell phone or electronic device usage during the school day was offered as a reward? 92.6% of the responses is yes. And it was 189 responses. So we got a handful of responses to get different perspectives. Secondly, we asked, would listening to music while working independently help you focus and improve your productivity? And 99.5% of this was yes. How can the JPS cell phone policy be improved for students? This was a written response. We asked for students to put in. These are the ones that stood out most to us. First, I think it needs to be less strict. They want us to stay off them all day, even when we're not learning. It feels like we're in jail sometimes. Secondly, we should be allowed to use our phones outside of class. I can get not using them during class, but what's the point of us not having them at lunch or on the bus? Thirdly, it makes me feel like the bus don't trust us. At the very least, the kids who don't get in trouble and do their work should be able to use their phones. This is the recommended policy revisions I believe in. Number 1, all students are allowed to use personal electronic devices during lunch. Second, students are allowed to use personal electronic devices during class changes if the school tardy rate is below 5%. Third, students who are not failing any classes, have no discipline referrals, and are not chronically absent are allowed to use personal electronic devices during homeroom time up until the teachers begins class. Fourth, scholars who meet requirements of Revision 3 are also allowed to listen to music using headphones in class during independent practice only if the music is not disruptive and they are not using their device to do anything that will prevent the completion of assignments. For example, texting, taking photos, etc. And lastly, scholars who are proficient on state tests and benchmark exams are allowed to use personal electronic devices during opportunity block. The recommended policy revisions have the potential to benefit all JPS high schools by improving academic performance, increasing student attendance, and making the school day more enjoyable for scholars. These recommendations are not made without regard to the possibility that students could abuse these privileges or that they may hurt the learning environment. However, if any of these policy changes are implemented, they should be done with a warning to each student body that their implementation and continued use are contingent upon responsible use that doesn't result in distractions or harm to the learning environment. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Ms. Porter?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Porter. Board members, any questions, comments?
Yeah, just cause something kind of...
Just figures microphone, please.
I'm sorry. Just cause something kind of slow. I'm a dinosaur in this age. You said you had the questions on a barcode?
Yes, sir. We created a Google Docs platform, and it's just like a quick button. You can just copy the URL. It'll give you a barcode, and we printed it out on a piece of paper, and we just allowed the students to scan it with their phone.
So they could take their phone that
Yes,
they
sir.
already have
The camera?
and put it on there like...
Yes, sir. Technology is advancing really fast.
And you read that menu for me?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's amazing.
Love it.
I just want to be clear.
Dr. Anderson, can you use the mic? Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. It's very interesting. And my two daughters went to JPS and had cell phones. And have you talked with parents? Did you include in this? I might have missed it, but have you talked with parents about how they feel about their children being able to have cell phones?
No, ma'am. That maybe would have been a
good
addition to it.
This parent, I hate to admit it, but I liked my daughters having a cell phone so they could call me, but I won't go any further than that about how we handled it.
Thank you.
That's a great presentation. Oh, go ahead, Ms. Hilliard.
Were you allowed to test these out on any of the students?
The policy revisions? No, ma'am.
Okay. What would be your recommendation for students who consistently refuse to go by the rules and regulations?
In my opinion, being realistic, I cannot say that, like I said, the policy revision would go for every student, because in every bag of apples, there's always a rotten apple. There will always be one who doesn't follow the rules. But we implemented the award question because maybe seeing students get rewarded will push other students to do better so they could get rewarded as well. Maybe peers helping peers. I also believe that shouldn't go for everybody. That's something that should be earned, because even pushing that policy is just allowing the students to know that you guys hear us, and that's a privilege. It doesn't have to be implemented. So those who cannot follow the rules won't be able to get it.
Accept responsibility for your actions.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll add, well, Dr. Green may have questions too. I have a few questions. I'm wondering if Mr. Johnson can put the recommendations back up on the board. Right there. Okay, so first of all, I like the way that you were innovative and just trying to figure out a middle ground, you know, in terms of thinking along and says, this is a real, we're wrestling with this right now. So I just want to appreciate you for bringing it to us, because this is it's not just a question that the school board's facing here in Jackson. Every school district all over the state they are having to make questions, and there may even be bills in the legislature right now. Okay, so there are. So the state legislature needs to hear this too, you know. And so, and I've heard some schools that have just banned them outright. So that's one extreme. I think right now JPS is probably middle ground. So we're saying, but middle ground, we could go a little bit further. So these are just some questions in terms of as you're thinking about it. Electronic devices during class change. Is that for everyone if the tardy rate is below 5%?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as long as the tardy rate's below 5%, it doesn't matter what your discipline record is, what your academic record is, just during class time. It's like a reward for the group. Is that the right interpretation?
No, sir.
Okay, what's the right interpretation?
The students who have discipline referrals or are chronically absent, they won't be allowed to have cell phones at all. Okay. But I understand what you're saying.
You know where I'm going?
Yes, sir. Because the school tardy rate is as a school as a whole. So there will be people that was given the privilege of a cell phone privilege, and they maybe didn't do everything right. So
that was where I was going. It's
understand
like, how do you know, right? Like, I know principals and teachers and APs, they know their students, but could someone slip by? You don't necessarily know. Or could someone be wrongly accused? You know, so there's some of that. What? Oh, go ahead.
Maybe implementing more disciplines for like skipping classes or being late to school, it'll X out with the electronic devices because they'll already be getting disciplined for being late or being absent. So
if you're in that category, would you take those folks, their phones when they walk through the doors?
Maybe ISS.
ISS? And I'm just part of it is these are the things that we got to grapple with, and I'm kind of like you got to grapple with it too, you know, as a board member, student board member. Okay, so those are these. And your methods were. I was. Go ahead.
I also would like to add, maybe, in my opinion, maybe the students are acting out, because if we go back on the slide of the written responses of the students, we can see that their stress is more so feeling like they're not at school, but they're in prison or they're caged in. They understand the instructional time, no phones, but when it's implemented that throughout the day for 8 hours, there is no phone, even at lunch, it kind of feel like jail to teenagers like us who are wired and glued to our phones. And even though that's not good, I'm not.
Even though it's not good.
I'm not advocating for it or saying that it's a good thing. I do believe that being glued to your phone creates bad habits and relying on a phone. I agree that in the classroom there should be no phones because you can't really pay attention with it. But during lunch or during class changes, when you have been in class all day, working hard, no phone, when you go out, you're like, okay, I got 5 minutes to get on my phone. This is my sweet. It's just like giving a baby a candy. I can eat this candy for two more seconds before I have to go back to vegetables. But when you just constantly have vegetables, maybe that's why the tardy rate is so high. Students don't want to come to school.
Vegetables. All right. So just one other thought on this. First of all, again, thank you. And I want to applaud you getting 189 responses. That's a lot of responses. And I'm not, and also just I'm not averse to having phones in schools as long as there are proper guidelines on it. I don't think I'm at the get rid of them from the minute you walk through the doors to the minute you walk out. I'm actually not even necessarily averse to them in classrooms. You know, if there's independent learning time and there's a research project, having access to the internet could be. You know, I'm not a teacher, so I'm not going to act like I know how to structure a lesson. But I'm also saying that there could be positive uses in the classroom, and if there are, and teachers want to use them, that we don't create a policy that limits that. But so I'm going to stop there. And I do really appreciate, again, the effort to get 189 responses amidst all the other things you're doing. I heard all the other extracurriculars that you're involved in, and obviously you're here. So thank you for this. I'm going to turn over to Dr. Green for the last word.
I'll try to be quick. I'll echo the thanks for your thoughtfulness here. Really appreciate, I could tell you were kind of warming up at the beginning, but your personality and your commitment to just being thoughtful about this issue really showed up as you continue talking through it. So just for point of clarity, wait, are you a senior?
Yes, sir.
You are a graduating senior, I'm sorry.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what I should have said, a graduating
Yes, sir.
senior. Okay.
I'm also a part of the IB program.
Well, and there you have it. And there you have it. Tell your whole story. Brag on yourself. So as a graduating senior, is this intended for high schools only? Is that what you said? Or would you see something like this in middle schools and elementaries as well?
In my opinion, it's kind of like I'm on both ends, because the reason why I'm fighting for electronic devices, particularly for high school, is because we're used to having our phone throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So in my opinion, I feel like taking phones would be more of a fight that you can't win, because students will fight back because they're only used to phones. But you're only used to phones because throughout your whole school system, you've been allowed to have phones. So if you start school with no phone, by the time you're in high school, you won't have any problem without having a phone. So I'm kind of on
I hear you.
with that.
That's helpful. That's helpful. You know, if we don't want to start something like this prohibition in high school when we've allowed you to have them for all these other years. That's really helpful.
But if you start now, those who are in lower grades, once they get my age, they'll already be used to instructional time being solely instructional
Or
time.
by that time, we'll have chips in our heads, and it won't matter if you have so there's that, too. Okay, my last, I guess, comment or question. I do want to say, I'm much like Dr. Sivak, this is not the fight I want to fight. There's so much that we need to be focused on. I don't really want to fight this fight. And at the same time, you do know that some, and probably not you, maybe not you, but some scholars do some really bad things with phones.
Very.
And while I would absolutely argue all day long that you're probably not going to do your best reading while you listen to They Not Like Us, we can argue about that. But the bad behavior, that's really, really disruptive. And so, for me, I would want to think through, like, how do we help? And I don't know, is there a way to help folks to make better choices with the phones if we were to allow them at one time or another?
It starts at home. It's not only just, school cannot just teach you everything. It starts at home. Those who make bad choices, it's just their character. So I do agree there are a lot of negative impacts on having a phone during school, but
not enough to prohibit everyone's use.
Not enough to not give a chance. Not give a chance.
Okay.
Maybe just give a chance first, instead of completely disregarding phones as a whole.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your response to this request.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Marshall-Thomas, and thank you, Ms. Porter. Is that a teacher or her parents?
That's our mentor, Dr. Buck, Dr. Forkbuck.
And who is he? Teacher at Jim. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, board members, we're going to keep moving through our information-only items. We have one more. We have the review of the amendment of the strategic goal for kindergarten readiness. Dr. Mayer is going to present this information.
Great evening to Dr. Sivak, Board of Trustee members, Dr. Green, and JPS family. The administration is recommending the amendment of the strategic goal for kindergarten readiness. and reestablish a baseline for the 2025-26 school year. There is a new assessment that the Mississippi Department of Education has adopted, and so as such, when we developed the strategic goals and when we adopted them, it was on that assessment. So there will be a new assessment, and so we're just asking that we amend the strategic goals to include, when it's available, the baseline for the new assessment.
Thank you, Dr. Merritt. Any questions, board members? We had the opportunity to review these in advance. Okay, thank you. Next, board members, we're going to move on to information action items. The first, Dr. Merritt will present the first item, which is the request to approve the corrective action plan for school year 24-25. Dr. Merritt.
Yes, sir. The administration recommends the approval of the corrective action plan for the 24-25 school year, and we have a presentation that I will go over at this time. All right, so the objectives of this presentation, one is to review the progress that we have made in clearing the standards and provide updates on the significant changes in the revised corrective action plan. As you are aware, the Mississippi Department of Education, they put forth accreditation standards in order for us to, there are guidelines for us to have very good schools. And so when we are found in deficient, or schools are found in deficient of some of the process standards, our accreditation status can be one, as we see on here, downgraded, withdrawn, or a state of emergency declared. As you are familiar, this began with an investigative audit in 2016 that lasted through July of 2017, and as a result of that investigative audit, we were found to be in violation of 24 of the 32 standards, in addition to accreditation policy 2.1. So as it stands now, our accreditation status, and it has been we've been on probation since then. As of today, we have cleared 39 total standards and substandards along with accreditation policy 2.1. And now we are currently working to clear the remaining 3 standards. And so as you can see, last year we had 3 additional standards that were on there. We had 6, and now we're down to 3. So we are very excited about where we stand in terms of clearing those standards. As we review this process, we know that several standards can have additional components to them. And as you can see, and we will talk about, Standard 6 has 2 components. One deals with residency requirements, and the other deals with immunization. So they can have various components as we look at the various standards. And so again, out of the we have cleared 24 of the standards, and again, that's something we should be very proud of and that we should celebrate. Those that are remaining fall under the Chief of Staff Office, which are 3, that's 6.1 that deals with residency requirements, 6.2, which is immunizations, and Standard 8, permanent records. Also, Standard 1, Standard 1.2 and Standard 1.3 have been on there as it deals with governance. As Dr. Vandervoort has been clear from the beginning, once we clear all of the other standards, this standard will clear. I'm happy to report that the Chief Operating Officer has joined the Deputy Superintendent in clearing all of the standards that he was responsible for. And that came with the closing of Wingfield, and when Wingfield closed, that removed that deficiency. I do want to note that we cleared a number, or we addressed a number of these deficiencies by the 2018 bond program. So not only was this done with staff, but we want to acknowledge the support of the community in passing that bond to help correct and address these deficiencies. As you can see, all of the standards that are under the deputy superintendent have cleared. I do want to note that you recall that standard 16 was added back last year, and it cleared in less than a year based on when we had the MAP assessment and MDE monitored the plan that was in place. And I do want to give kudos to Ms. Viverette as well as Ms. Blackshear for the work that they did in developing and implementing and monitoring that plan. So that standard 16 was removed rather quickly. So kudos to the work of that team. Last year, as we look at the accomplishments, I do want to note that there were some schools, of course, records it's just been our thing, but McLeod did clear standard 6.1, 6.2, and standard 8. Kirksey cleared standard 6, and Lake cleared standard 8. So there has been some progress as we have addressed records. The schools with remaining deficiencies, you see them. I won't bore you with reading them, but we are poised and we are ready to clear them, and we'll have a little bit more discussion about it. Key takeaways, we're continuing to make progress in clearing the standards. We've cleared 24, and so we're happy about that, and a total of 39 standards and substandards. We are continuing to work on clearing the remaining deficiencies. We continue to work with MDE with providing technical assistance in addressing these records. We've had plenty of training. And we continue to revise and monitor our processes as we monitor and implement all standards. Before I ask for questions, I do want to acknowledge and introduce you to the records team that's here this evening. And so we have the coordinator, the person that kind of leads this, is Ms. Janet Rayford. Ms. Rayford, will you stand, please? Along with Ms. Hills, Ms. Candace Lewis, and Ms. Tammy White. These are our full-time JPS team members who are working very diligently to clear these standards. So let's give them a round of applause. And then we have some retirees, and I do want to extend my gratitude to Ms. Lovey Robinson and Ms. Emma Hill. Please stand. These are retired JPS employees who have been continuously coming to work and support us in this process. And I thanked them earlier because I know these ladies like to be home before the sun goes down, and they were willing to come here this evening. So thank you, Ms. Hill and Mrs. Robinson. And last and certainly not least, William Terrell Thomas, please stand. He's a retiree of Jackson Public Schools as well. And Mr. Figgis, this is one thing I can promise you. Lanier is going to clear. He will work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to make sure everything is in order at Lanier. And so I do want to acknowledge that team and thank them for what they're doing. One of the questions I want to respond to, Dr. Sivak, is we hope that we clear all of these standards by June 30th, 2025. I do want to say that that's contingent upon the availability of MDE coming out to monitor, but they will begin monitoring some schools next week. We want to extend our gratitude to the board for the things that you all have supported us with. One, this past year we eliminated the position of records clerk, and now we just have an office manager and an office assistant, and that's something that you supported. And with the office assistant, we had a records clerk and office assistants before, but the burden of addressing records was only on the records clerk. So what we did is we revised that job description to include that records are a part of all individuals that work in the office. So there's more joint responsibility when it comes to correcting and addressing records. Another thing that this board did was you supported increased pay for those individuals, and so that's really helped with the retention of individuals. We have seen a steep decline in turnover with office assistants. This was done, I think, the previous year. You approved an additional slot, and this was done in collaboration with the superintendent to add an additional person at high schools to help address records. Additionally, and how we are going about it this year, Ms. Marshall Thomas presented a plan that she's committed to making sure her high schools, because one thing that's unique about this, when we talk about standards 6.1, 6.2, and 6.8, high schools, our 6 remaining high schools appear in those categories. And so Ms. Marshall Thomas has assembled and made all of her office assistants at the high school level available every day since we've been back in school since January 6th. And they're working through all school records, which I think we've only gotten through Provine, and which we really feel good about, which they will come and review Provine's records next week. But that's something different. Last year we kind of did school level teams that did not turn out to be as successful as we wanted it to be. But these individuals go to Poindexter. They report every day to Poindexter, and they work with another drill sergeant, Dr. Strong, and this team of retirees as they review each record to make sure that they are compliant according to the requirements that are outlined. So you all have been very supportive as we endeavor to correct these records and clear these standards, and we are very hopeful that we do this. Even some of the office assistants on Friday, when I called to check on Dr. Strong and the team, they're working late and committed. They want to be over this as bad as we want to be over this. And so I do want to just extend my gratitude to that team as well. Dr. Strong, just come up, and I have just 90 seconds that I just want to share with you what this team does. And she's just going to walk you through just a little bit of an actual record and how they, the process of reviewing it. And I do want to note that when our retiree team, when they go out and support schools, they make notes, and it's up to the school at that time to correct whatever deficiencies they find, because our school personnel is the one that has access to the system and can pull those needed documents. So Dr. Strong is just, if you would take the record out of the envelope, and she's going to walk you through quickly what it looks like to review a cumulative record. And we definitely need them back after this, please. These are real records.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Board President Dr. Sivak, Superintendent Dr. Green, board members. So this evening you have the pleasure of actually serving as one of our monitors for our cumulative folders, just to give you an understanding of actually what the Mississippi Department of Education comes out to review when they come out to monitor our schools for standards 6 and 8. So if you will follow along with me, we have divided the standards in the cumulative folder by tabs, and I will begin with the blue tab, which is located in the back. The blue tab represents residency requirements. So each year our parents must register their child for school. They have to provide us with 2 proofs of residency. So it's located in the manila folder that's in the very back. So with that residency proof, the school or our office, depending on where the parent enrolls, we must verify that they live within Jackson Public Schools district, okay? So then based on that information, we take that address from the proofs and we ensure that it is written in pencil because it requires a lot of changes as our students move throughout the year. But in pencil, not only on the cumulative folder, but also on the permanent record. And the permanent record is in the front. So that is the requirement that our state ensures that all of our students have their proofs and that the address is written in pencil along with the phone number on the cumulative folder and the permanent record, and it must match. So that represents standard 6.1. Any questions before we move forward?
What happens if someone moves? Is that why you write it in pencil?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And does the record follow the student?
The record follows the student. All right, moving on to standard 6.2, immunization requirements. That is the green tab located toward the front. So, of course, you know that the Mississippi Department of Health requires that our students meet immunization requirements. So with that, on the form that we receive from the health department, there's an appropriate box for, depending on the grade level that the child is enrolled in. So we have a box for K4 through 6th grade that must be checked for compliance. And then we also have our 7th through 12th grade box that must be checked for our 7th graders that receive that Tdap shot. They must provide us with an updated immunization form. That form must be printed out and placed behind the birth certificate in the cumulative folder. If that is done, the school will pass standard 6.2. And our final standard, which is the most challenging, is standard 8, and that is the pink tab, and I have 2 of them. And the reason being is because all of the required data that is required on the cumulative folder must also be on the permanent record, which is the insert that's located in the front. All of that information must match. And I can just give you some common examples that MDE normally kinds of lets us know that we need to, some areas that we need to work on. And I can tell you that one of them is the withdrawal and entrance transfer on the front of the cumulative folder and the insert. As I stated, the cumulative folder follows the child. So if the child leaves one school and goes to the other, you must transfer that record out from one school to the next. And so that is pretty much how MDE comes out to monitor our schools and review our cumulative folders. Now, I can say that standard 8, as I said, that's the most challenging, because just think about it, especially, I don't think any of these are high school, but our high school records, all of that information must match when the folder was created in the elementary school. And so the process is quite tedious, but we're working hard to definitely get through it.
And so in monitoring the records, MDE will select 15% of the school's population of the records. They'll pull 15% of the enrollment. And we're only allowed to have 5 errors. If we reach 5 errors, it could be with one record, they stop. And so we have to reschedule a follow-up. So that's how serious and how meticulous this process and monitoring records are. Are there any questions that I can entertain at this time?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the persons who are checking these records, you know, it brings back old memories, of course. Are they trained prior to this and everything? This is a very interesting process, and I can't see why we won't pass this. You know, so we're just going to claim it right now.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, we're going to master this, with the process that you have in place. Excellent.
Yes, ma'am.
Has the one of the things I noticed as I was going through the records is the electronic enrollment process now requires a number of those things to be submitted. Has that facilitated progress towards the standard? So what I'm saying is, if you're a returning student, each year you've got to re-enroll.
The residency information.
That's it, yep.
Yes, sir. And they have to print it out and place it in
at
folder.
the school.
Yes, sir.
Or wherever it happens. Okay.
Any other questions?
Is this the standard process across the state?
Yes, sir.
I was going to say this to the end. So, yes, we're working like the Dickens to go on and clear this. But at the same time, I'm in the ear, and I know some of my colleagues are as well, in the ear of the state superintendent. When are we going to stop this? We've got the digital records. In a minute, we won't be signing anything in life. Why are we still doing this? And so it's going to take some time, but I get the sense from our state superintendent that there is a plan, a hope, a desire to migrate to a completely digital process.
Great.
For right now, we'll dot our I's and cross our T's.
And in closing, I just want to acknowledge the other assistant superintendents who have been great partners in this work as well. So thank you all. They understand that this is priority, and they really have been working with us and providing the staff as needed to help address these deficiencies. So I do want to extend my gratitude to the entire team.
Thank you, Dr. Mayor, and by extension, we'll also thank you. You've been working on this project for as long as I've known you, and so thank you for your continued leadership.
I have a comment that this is you have done an outstanding job, and I mean I've watched it now for a couple of years, and I'm just so proud that we are down to where we are. To get these 3 standards, cleared. But I am, and so I'm really ecstatic. I'm wondering what is the weight of these, the records, because it's just boggling my mind, the errors when you say that they stop at 5, and then they'll just make the appointment to come back, and then especially the way our scholars transfer back, and I understand that people should not be messy, or but by the time they get to high school, they just transfer, and especially in urban districts, so many times, and there could be so many errors in these records. I can't even imagine what our records probably looked like.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Thompson, you're missing the amen corner in the back. They're saying amen.
So I'm just wondering.
Yes, ma'am. So I think there will be 3 individuals that will be monitoring. I think is it a total of 5 or 6 schools next week? 7 schools. And some of them are MDE staff members, and some of them, I don't know, the composition of this team are consultants. And so we're not the only district in the state that's dealing with this standard, so it's just based on availability and if we don't pass when they are able to return. However, we did, I think we received preference and priority to just, hey, we are trying to support you and get you through this due to the number of schools that we have on record.
And Mrs. Thompson, you're spot on. There's a lot of data that's being tracked by hand and by many, many people, and for thousands of scholars. And so it is a lot. It's tedious. I appreciate the team sharing some examples for those here in the room, examples of these folders, just to get a sense of what we're having to deal with. And again, this is person by person, done by hand, and there's so many opportunities to miss something. And that's exactly why it's taking us the amount of time that it's taking us to get it cleared. That plus, we've had so much turnover over the years. So it's the perfect storm. It's a lot of data, lots of hands on the data, turnover of staff, and so many of our babies move, not just year to year, but within the year. So all of that together just has made it really difficult for folks to keep up and focus and ensure quality and accuracy.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Again, thank you, Dr. Green.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Strong. Board members, I want to go ahead and get a vote on record for this item. Ms. Hilliard, do you have your records? Is there a motion?
Yes, I put a motion to accept this recommendation coming from Dr. Mayer.
Second.
Mr. Figures has moved. Dr. Harrison has seconded. All in favor? Aye. The motion carries.
Thank y'all so much for this good work. My goodness. Thinking
Yeah.
that's where we were and where we are now, it's like amazing. So thank all of the team, the JPS team.
All right.
Very good work.
All right. We're going to continue on to review the request to approve the district test security plan. Dr. Viverette, did I say that correct? Yes. Okay, great. Who is our Director of Student Assessment in the Office of Teaching and Learning, will present this information.
Good evening.
Good evening.
School Board President Dr. Sivak, Superintendent Dr. Green, board members, and the JPS community members. The Office of Teaching and Learning is here to present for information action the 2025 District Test Security Plan. The District Test Security Plan contains all components the Office of Student Assessment requires. It is prepared each school year no later than December 2024 and approved by the Board of Trustees by February the 18th, 2025. The plan identifies all individuals accessing the secure storage area and district and school sites, and all district and school personnel administering or handling state assessment materials that must understand and adhere to test security procedures. Jackson Public School District has moved from a non-compliant status in spring 2023 to a compliant status in spring 2024. To clear Standard 16 and avoid an outcome similar to the spring 2023 testing irregularities investigation, 4 recommendations were implemented during the spring 2024 MAP assessments. The first one was non-homeroom teacher as administrator and proctor. Allowing non-homeroom teachers to serve as test administrators and proctors removes one potential incentive for educator coaching on exams. Number 2, we implemented a superintendent's hotline of anonymous reporting. We implemented and staffed a spring superintendent's hotline during the MAP testing window to allow anonymous reporting of any testing irregularities. This allowed for immediate remediation and investigation of any potential violations of test security in the district. Number 3, the collection and consolidation of test security plans. Although the lack of a submitted test plan aligns with other corroborated concerns and reports on how testing was administered, collecting school-based plans is one critical component of any necessary future investigation. Number 4, heightened district monitoring during testing window. To support testing integrity, the Office of the Deputy Superintendent deployed team members and academic support offices to schools to conduct testing audits. The central office auditors utilized the Mississippi Department of Education Testing Security Audit Form to review the testing environment and provide any additional layer of accountability during testing administration. Some additional changes being made to test administration for the spring of 2025 associated with lessons learned from 23 and 24 are continuing the assignments of schools' testing days within the larger month-long testing windows. This allows us to have a clear line of sight to when each school is testing within the window, and any additional days or makeups must be approved centrally. This also assists with the deployment of district personnel responsible for conducting audits. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Viverette. Board members, are there questions, comments? All right, thank you. I know I sent questions in advance. Thank you for running through each of those for this. Board members, just given the proximity of this to the recent testing irregularities and then subsequently moving through another testing window without any issues, I do want to have a record of a vote on this on its own. So is there a motion to approve the test security plan?
I so move.
Second.
Ms. Hilliard has moved. Dr. Harrison is seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Thank you, Dr. Viverette.
Thank you.
All right, board members, we will continue on. We'll take from here on out, we're going to just take these as a slate. So the next, we'll invite Mrs. Harris Martin, our Executive Director of Transportation, who will share with us a request to approve an MDEQ bus purchase.
Good evening,
Good evening.
President Sivak, to Superintendent Green, and to the board. The administration recommends reapproval for the purchase of 2 new school buses, which was approved during the May 21st, 2024 board meeting. These buses are identified within the awarded grant to replace aging diesel buses under the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality, MDEQ, through the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, State Clean Diesel Grant Program. The reason for the reapproval with the Mississippi Department of Education, it is a requirement that when we get approvals from the board, when we purchase buses, that it be within the same school year that we're going to actually purchase the buses. So that is the reason for the reapproval.
Thank you, Mrs. Harris Martin. Board members, any additional questions or comments? Thank you. Next, we'll invite Mr. Chuck Jackson, Mr. Willie Chuck Jackson, our Executive Director of Assets and Property, to the podium to request the approval of the 16-section lease agreement between Jackson Public School District and Hafid Muhammad II. Mr. Jackson.
Good evening, Dr. Sivak, board members, Dr. Green, members of the Jackson Public School District family. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the lease agreement between Jackson Public School District, Leasar, and Hafid Muhammad II, leasee, location at 1623 South Gallatin Street, Jackson, Mississippi. There was a there was a question asked about what was this property be used for. This is a pallet company, and they sell and distribute pallets.
Great, thank you, Mr. Jackson. Board members, are there any additional questions? Hearing none, we can move on to the next request to approve the cancellation of the 16-section lease agreement between Jackson Public Schools and Mike Bailey.
The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the cancellation of 16-section lease agreement between Jackson Public School District, Leasar, and Mike Bailey, leasee, located at Section 16, Township 05 North. And the cancellation was for lack of failure to pay taxes.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Any questions or comments, board members? Thank you. Next, we'll invite Dr. Green to request the approval of the service agreement between Reconstruction US, Inc. and the Jackson Public School District. Dr. Green.
Thank you, Dr. Sivak. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approves the contract between Reconstruction US, Inc. and the Jackson Public School District for reading tutoring support. Reconstruction will provide reading support to 60 JPS scholars. The scholars will have access to Reconstruction courses, and those courses will have 2 sessions per week for 5 weeks, or some other configuration of 10 classes per session as determined by the school. This is the tutoring support would be funded by the Barksdale Foundation, which has graciously donated funds to support the services specifically of reconstruction to target and especially support our third grade scholars.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Board members, any questions, comments? Thank you, Dr. Green. Next, we'll invite Attorney Harris, our General Counsel for Jackson Public Schools, to request the approval of the Legacy Scholars Grant Agreement with the Equal Justice Initiative. There are two requests in here, one for Jim Hill High School and one for Provine High School. Attorney Harris.
Good evening, Board President Dr. Seaback, Board members, Superintendent Dr. Green, JPS family. The Office of the General Counsel recommends that the Jackson Public School Board of Trustees approve the grant agreement between the Equal Justice Initiative and Jackson Public Schools on behalf of Jim Hill High School. Jim Hill applied for and was awarded a grant to cover the cost for 200 scholars and 20 chaperones to visit the Legacy Museum, from enslavement to mass incarceration, the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, and the Freedom Monument Sculpture Park in Montgomery, Alabama. They'll be attending this trip on March the 7th, 2025, and the amount of their grant award is $18,000.
Thank you. We can proceed, Provine.
The second request is for Provine High School. They have a grant for 87 scholars and 9 chaperones to visit the museum on April the 16th, 2025, and the amount of this grant is $9,723.
Thank you, Attorney Harris. Board members, any questions or comments? Thank you. Okay, board members, we've heard information and requests for action on items C through H for our information action agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Harrison has moved. Ms. Figurs has seconded. All in favor? Aye.
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 The motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Next, we have our consent agenda items finance. The board has previously reviewed all the consent agenda items finance, and we have had an opportunity to ask the administration questions. Are there any further questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Hilliard has moved. Mr. Figurs has seconded. All in favor? Aye. The motion carries. Next, we have our consent agenda items for personnel. All the consent agenda items for personnel have been reviewed by the board previously and had an opportunity to ask the administration questions. Are there any further questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Harrison has moved. Mr. Figurs has seconded. All in favor? Aye. The motion carries. Board members, we have several items for executive session, so is there a motion to close the meeting to consider an executive session?
I so moved.
Second.
Mr. Figurs has moved. Ms. Hilliard has seconded. All in favor? Aye. The motion carries. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Dancing. And raffle drawings. The JPS Special Programs Fair gave families a glimpse of the future for scholars eager to excel in their academic journeys.
Welcome to the Jackson Convention Complex in the 12th Annual Jackson Public School Consolidated JROTC Military Gala. Thank you for coming to help us honor and celebrate the outstanding community service and the dedication of the JROTC cadets in the Jackson Public School District, and the celebration of 88 years of JROTC in the district. The theme for this year's gala is Passport to the Future. This theme highlights the leadership